Yo, what's up guys, it's NLW here, back again with another video giving you my thoughts and my review of AEW Revolution 2021, featuring an explosive debut and a not so explosive main event, but we'll get to it. Would appreciate it if you liked the video, comment down below if you enjoyed Revolution, if you watched it, and what did you think of it. Also subscribe as we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers and your support would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into the review. And we'll start off with the buy-in match. It was a tag match, Britt Baker and a mystery partner taking on Riho and Thunder Rosa. This, of course, with Rebel being kayfabe injured. And Maki Ito was the one who took her place, and I marked out immediately. I was very much looking forward to this. Maki Ito has been making waves on the Japan bracket for the women's tournament they've been doing, and it's good to see her here on the US side of things. So Maki Ito, she's got a lot of charisma. She's the cutest in the world, as she says, failed idol, and she starts crying at one point, stamps on the foot of Riho or Thunder Rosa, I can't remember which one, but this is a fun opening tag match. Thunder Rosa seems to be in control, but she gets hit with a crutch by Reba, allowing Britt Baker to get the win for her and Maki Ito, and we will see some of them later in the night. But the main card starts off with the AEW World Tag titles on the line as the Young Bucks defend against the Inner Circle of Chris Jericho and MJF. MJF and Jericho, they're being cocky, and I feel like this match was good, but it did get a little bit goofy in places considering how the Young Bucks' father was treated by the Inner Circle. You'd think there'd be a little bit more intensity, but it does get a bit goofy at times, but it's still a decent match. Jericho at one point catches out the Meltzer driver with a Walls of Jericho and also a code breaker in midair. MJF, he's being cocky, he's trying to take every advantage he can get, as well as Wardlow. The Young Bucks, though, they're a house of fire, hitting ping pong super kicks onto MJF. The Young Bucks eventually hit the Meltzer driver to retain the tag team championships, a result which I can understand. I think that the Inner Circle, it looks like they're teasing dissension between Jericho and MJF for this Wednesday's Dynamite, so we'll have to see. But overall, solid tag match, nothing to write home about. Next up, we got the Casino Tag Team Royale for a future World Tag Team title match. Starts off with the Natural Nightmares and the Dark Order, and here's just a list of teams that come in. We've got the Inner Circle, the Seidel Brothers, more Dark Order members, got the Gun Club, Varsity Blondes. There's a lot of teams on here, and it makes me want to see the new AEW show they've been hyping, Elevation, because, you know, I want to see a bunch of these tag teams get featured on it. My pick, Private Party, gets eliminated, sadly, but we come down to four of my favourite wrestlers in AEW at the moment. We had Pac, Ray Phoenix, John Silver, and Jungle Boy. It comes down to Jungle Boy and Ray Phoenix. They have a big sprint at the end of this match. It's really good stuff, and eventually Phoenix throws out Jungle Boy, and the Death Triangle are getting a shot at the tag team titles. I cannot wait to see Pac and Ray Phoenix against the Young Bucks. Really good match as far as Battle Royals go. I mean, it was a solid match as it was. It was a little bit long, and there were a few teams in there that I wasn't familiar with, but it seemed like a Battle Royal that kept up a frantic pace, so I thoroughly enjoyed it, and especially the ending sequence between Phoenix and Jungle Boy. Good stuff. Next up, the women's title on the line is Hikaru Shida defends against Ryo Mizunami. Ryo obviously winning the women's title tournament earlier on Dynamite, and now she's facing Shida in a match here tonight, and it was a good match. I don't know much about Mizunami, but they did explain it well in the backstory for the promo. Shida, she keeps hitting knees, and it seems like Riho keeps kicking out of them, and I get that, you know, she's meant to be tenacious, but it seems like when that's one of your finishing moves, you shouldn't just be kicking out of countless knees, I should say. It does get more intense. They trade headbutts and forearms. At one point, Riho throws Shida into the crowd. Shida hits a deadlift suplex in the ring. More knees, more times. She keeps kicking out, and Mizunami looks like she's a house of fire. At one point, I thought she was going to do it, but Shida did kick out, hit another Falcon Arrow to win the match and retain the title. A good match, but I'm not really familiar with Ryo Mizunami, so it's difficult to get invested when you're not familiar with the characters, but still a decent match. I did enjoy it. I just wish Shida would have something more to sink her teeth into as champion and an actual storyline to go. But we did see at the end of this match, Baker and Ito try and chase down Shida, but Thunder Rosa even the odds, and it looks like we're going to get a 6-woman tag this Wednesday on Dynamite, which I'm very much looking forward to. Next up, we got Miro and Kip Sabian taking on the best friends of Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, although this match starts in the back when Miro and Kip blindside the best friends for a while. It's just Chuck Taylor in there. He's been beaten down. Orange Cassidy does make his way to ringside, hitting a Superman punch, and he's a house of fire. Takes out Miro for the time being. However, the tide turns when Miro pushes Orange Cassidy into Penelope Ford, and that means Kip Sabian is distracted, helping her, and Miro doesn't seem to care, so a lot more of a vicious side of Miro in this match, and you can tease a little bit of dissension there. So eventually Miro hits in the, whatever he calls it, the accolade, or what he's calling it now, the game over, that's it. onto Chuck Taylor to win the match, and then he pulls away Kip Sabian. So Kip's he's a little bit miffed, but maybe not as much as he should be, considering his wife was knocked off of the apron. I just hope that these two teams can go their separate ways. A decent match, but again, I just want the feud to be over for now. Next up, we got the big money match. The winner gets the loser's earnings for the first quarter of the year. It's Hangman Adam Page and Big Money Matt Hardy. Story of this match is Matt Hardy keeps working over the hand of Adam Page, so he can't hit the buckshot lariat. There's a couple of big moves in this one. Hangman with the crossbodies to the outside and a crossbody in the ring. Eventually though, Private Party tries to assist Matt Hardy with the victory, but the Dark Order makes the save, running them away. A twist of fate from Matt Hardy. You think he's got it won, but Hangman still kicks out. He gets thrown over onto the apron, almost falls, but the Dark Order is there to help Page hit the buckshot lariat, pushing him back up, and Adam Page is in the money, as they say. So, a good match, a solid match again. Like, nothing special, but I did enjoy the story of Matt Hardy working over the hand, and probably one of Matt Hardy's better matches as of late. I want to see what Adam Page does with all the money, and hopefully he officially joins the Dark Order soon. I have been enjoying this storyline a lot, so it's good to see where Adam Page and Matt Hardy go from here, I guess. Next up, we got the Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future TNT title match. It's Scorpio Sky, Cody Rhodes, Penta El Zero Miedo, Lance Archer, Max Caster, and the debuting Ethan Page. I called it, but it's good to see Ethan Page here. Cody at one point tries to shake his hand, but Ethan Page is having none of it. So there's a bunch of cool spots in this match. I won't list them all, but Lance Archer, he's chokeslamming everybody in this one. Eventually, at one point, Penta hits a Canadian Destroyer onto a ladder to Cody Rhodes, which looks brutal, and he's taken out for the time being, but he does eventually get back into the match later on. Scorpio Sky, he's on the top rope and gets pushed off through a ladder. Max Caster, he's putting up a lot of sick offense. He jumps off the top of a ladder with an elbow drop. There was a spot early on as well where Ethan Page powerbombed Scorpio Sky onto a ladder with Lance Archer wedged in between. So a fun ladder match. You know, it's difficult to have that much innovation in a ladder match, but I feel like they worked around it quite well, and it was quite a fun match for what it was. Scorpio Sky eventually knocks off Cody Rhodes off of the ladder and grabs the brass ring, literally and figuratively. He is the face of the Revolution, and he's going to face Darby Allin this Wednesday on Dynamite. A fun ladder match. I mean, there was a couple of crazy spots here and there, nothing too overkill, but I can't say I was disappointed. I'm glad Ethan Page is in AEW, and I want to see more from what Scorpio Sky can do in a singles capacity, so I got to give it a thumbs up. Now, all week, AEW has been hyping this Hall of Fame caliber signing. People have been speculating from CM Punk to Brock Lesnar to John Cena for some reason, and the announcement was that it is Christian Cage. You hear the countdown, you hear My Last Breath, the theme song come over the speakers, and oh my god, I marked out. Like, I am such a massive Christian fan. I am so happy to see him with his old theme as well here in AEW, and I've just been seeing people complain online about this, and I'm like, why? I mean, he was just in the Royal Rumble, people were raving about that, and now he's in AEW, people are saying it's disappointing, and I'm like, what did you expect? Because, what, CM Punk's not going to be there, Brock Lesnar certainly not going to be there. I don't know what people were expecting. This is the best outcome, especially for a Hall of Fame caliber signing, because if there's anyone bigger, they're not going to have regular matches, but Christian, his intention seems to be that he wants to wrestle again, so yeah, I'm just stumped that people can't be happy about this. Like, I am so pumped. I predicted Christian, and I'm very happy to see him in AEW. Want to see what he does in the future, and each to their own. Like, I'm glad that Christian Cage is here. Loved his work in TNA. Want to see what he can do. WWE, have to say they dropped the ball on this one. They could have had Edge and Christian team up against the Usos, but we're glad to see Christian Cage here in AEW. And next up, we got my favourite match of the night, a street fight, Darby Allin and Sting facing Team Taz of Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. The setting, it's a cinematic match in this warehouse, and I love the entire scenery of it. You've got the ring, it's like kind of like an abandoned prison type thing. It's very visually pleasing, so Sting and Darby, they pair off. At one point, Brian Cage has Darby in a suplex position and walks up the stairs with him. Darby Allin gets thrown through a pane of glass. Sting, though, he's holding his own. He's looking pretty good in this match. The shot of Darby emerging from the top rafter place, the kind of platform, and throwing the bat back to Sting, that was great. And Darby Allin with a huge elbow drop from the top through that kind of plane of wood thing. And there was a point at the start of the match where Darby climbed onto the wall like Spider-Man and jumped off with a coffin drop. That was sick. It ends with a scorpion death drop to Ricky Starks. Darby Allin and Sting win the match and save the day. Great match. I loved it. I wish there was a little bit less commentary in it. I think it could have been a little bit better had there been no commentary and just a soundtrack to it. Again, probably my favourite cinematic match of the entire year though so far, or like, you know, the past 12 months. If this is the end to the rivalry, a great end to it. I think Darby Allin is a star from this, and Sting looked great. I don't mind he pins Ricky Starks because the match itself was well shot, it was well executed. My favourite match of the night, great stuff. Now we come on to the main event, the exploding barbed wire deathmatch for the AEW World title. Kenny Omega defends against Jon Moxley. You got Don Callis on commentary, giving his thoughts on the match. So at the moment, they're just teasing each other. They're teasing going into the barbed wire, can't quite get it there, and the first explosion goes off, and it's a little bit underwhelming, but we'll see. We'll go with it. And they keep fighting. It does get bloody very quickly with a barbed wire bat to the face of Moxley, and he's bleeding everywhere. He tries at one point to wrap his arm in barbed wire and hit a clothesline. So they're using the ring effectively, and there's a couple more explosions, but it's good because you're expecting it to build to a crescendo, as it were. So we'll get to that in a moment and see if it actually did happen. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But the match itself, I thought it was brutal. I thought it was really good, well executed. At one point, a paradigm shift from the ring apron to the outside through the explosions, and the explosions didn't even go off near them, so there wasn't even the illusion that that was any kind of factor. It was just for theatrics, I guess. They come back in, more barbed wire goodness, but the Good Brothers run down to try and make the save. Actually, no, before that, I should say, my favourite spot of the match was the one-winged angel, and rather than kick out, Moxley set off the explosives and they went off in Omega's eyes. That was pretty good to see. So yeah, the Good Brothers come down, they interfere on behalf of Omega, beat down Moxley. Moxley, he's done, one-winged angel on a chair, and Kenny Omega is still the champion, but there's still 5 minutes left until the quote-unquote huge explosion, so they're beating him down, and then the clock goes off. They're run off by Eddie Kingston, and Eddie Kingston runs down to protect Moxley. Quite surprising considering the feud that they had last year, but I was kind of digging this. Eddie, you know, I'm intrigued by it. Eddie, he huddles over Moxley, protecting him from the huge explosion, and it's like a bunch of pyro, basically. And the sparklers, it was so anticlimactic to see that, what they were hyping up for the entire match, the big explosion. It was shite. Like, it was not good at all. But I'll be objective. I'll separate the match from the ending, because the match itself well lived up to my expectations, to be honest. I think it was brutal at points, it was bloody, it was what it needed to be. I think it was a good match, I enjoyed it. But the ending, man, oh geez, that was very anticlimactic. What were they thinking? Like, I think it would have been much better had they had the explosions close to the ring and then create more of like a smoke effect. So rather than set off pyro, you set off like smoke bombs as well to give the illusion that there's this big explosion, or even just play explosion sound effects over the speaker system. Like, just make it seem like it's a big deal. You know it's not, but still. It killed the illusion for me. A horrible explosion, and I thought it was funny. Mox, after the match, went off the air. You know, he's going into it. So yeah, that ending had the same energy as exploding a sparkler in your face. Like, it sucks. It's not good. But the match itself, I gotta give it a thumbs up. Just the ending, a huge thumbs down. So that was AEW Revolution. So I'd have to say it was a decent show. Not their best outing on pay-per-view, but certainly worth a watch if you've got the time. The opener was solid. I enjoyed the Tag Team Royale more than I thought I would. The women's title match was good, although I wish that Shida could get more of a rivalry going with her opponents. The tag match with the Best Friends, it was what it needs to be. It wasn't terrible. Likewise, the Adam Page Money Matt Hardy match, it was good for what it was. The ladder match was good. There were enough spots in there to keep it interesting. The street fight, my favourite match of the night. I loved how different it was, where it was shot. I love the setting of the warehouse, and I think the spots they came up with were very entertaining. The time flew by in that one. And the main event, it was a good match. The ending soured me on it, but I can't let the ending sour me on it, because the match itself was pretty good. I wish they would done more with the explosions and really hype that aspect up a little bit more by having more smoke, or at least the illusion that it was more deadly than it was. The spot where he kicked the ropes and the explosion went off in Kenny's face, that was a good use of the barbed wire. But other than that, like, the barbed wire, I don't think it needed the explosions. I think you shouldn't have hyped it up to be that. They have done some in Japan. I know I saw a clip on Insta with Anita, and it was a cage match, so you could have more explosives linked up and pyro linked up to the cage pieces, and the explosions look more devastating in that way. So in hindsight, probably would have been better to have some sort of barbed wire steel cage rather than what they did, but still a good match, terrible ending. So on the whole, solid show. Got to give it a thumbs up for the most part. I mean, I can't say it was underwhelming per se, because I enjoyed it, but it could have been a little bit better. And of course, the signing of Christian Cage, it's divided a few people online. I personally think it's fantastic, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Christian will do in AEW. But what did you think of Revolution? Did you watch it? Did you not? And what did you think of that ending as well? And what do you think of Christian Cage debuting in AEW? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe, as we're getting closer to 1,000 subscribers. That's it from me, and I will catch you guys later.